The whole idea of service quality will propel your business to heights it's never been before. What else will propel you? Staying focused on the customer. Knowing your products and services inside out and knowing how they meet your customers' needs. Being proud of and excited about your business and knowing everything there is to know about your competitor. And finally, what will propel you is being delighted that every single day you have the opportunity to take the seemingly meaningless mundane and make it meaningful because you have the opportunity to serve. Now let me ask you a question. If you were in the market for your products or your services, would you do business with you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Let me tell you why I'm asking you this question. A few years ago, I was about to get married. I had been married before. I made a mistake. Anybody relate? I know you're not going to do that. These folks are getting married soon. I made a mistake. I didn't want to make another mistake, so I went to a marriage counselor. I said, "Should I marry Bob?" And the marriage counselor said, "Jane, you have the wrong question. The question is not, should you marry Bob? The question is, would you marry you?" I said, "No." If I was going to be married to me, I'd have to clean up my act quite a bit. That made me think about my business. If I were in the market for a speaker or consultant, would I choose me? Or do I have room for improvement? Oh, yes. Every business has room for improvement, mine and yours. And if we were brave, if we were truly brave, what would we do today to make it easier for our customers and clients to do business with us? On your note sheet, you've got a place there. It says, what would you do if you had the courage and the bravery to do it? Taking a look at things like your processes and your procedures, taking a look at your waste and your redundancies, taking a look at your communications internally and externally with both the people you work with inside who are your customers and the end user that you work with outside. What would you do to increase your sales? We all know, but something keeps us from doing the things we know to do, as basic as they are, day in and day out, or to get innovative and do something better, quicker, faster, or cheaper. So what I want you to do is write down 1, 2, or 3 things. They're on the top of your head, and I want you to write them down right now. Now, the first thing you're going to take away tonight from this seminar is what you just wrote down. That's your to-do list. If it's on the top of your mind, and I didn't give you but a second to think of it, so it has to be, right? So that's what you're going to first start working on tomorrow. Be brave, have courage, and go out and fix those things that are causing dilemmas in your business. Here is exactly what your customer wants. They want reliable products and services at a reasonable price. Note, I did not say cheap. A reasonable price. People are willing to pay for good products and services if the price is reasonable. They want them delivered at a decent amount of time from courteous, well-trained, informed employees. They want us to deliver what we promise when we promise to deliver it. Companies that succeed take an innovative approach to their business. They look at the marketplace, see what everybody else is doing, and they either do it better, quicker, faster, smarter, or they do it differently. And the companies in an economy like you are dealing with now, the ones that are going to survive, are the ones that are going to learn how to innovatively adapt to the environment as it is now. Innovative people who succeed in their businesses are not afraid to have formal and informal surveys asking the customer, how are we doing and what can we do to serve you better? How many of you participate in surveys with your customers? Okay, good. Many of you do. Ask your customers, how are we doing, what can we do to make it better? Companies that succeed have employees that listen, that are always thinking when they're talking to their customers and listening to them, what else do I have that can meet your needs? Companies that succeed manage to the customer's expectations. Why is that important? In the future, who's going to decide how much money you make? Who's going to decide what products you get to market at what time? Who's going to decide whether, in fact, your company even exists? It's the customer. And if you will take care of the customer, they'll pay for anything you want. In every business, there's a cycle of service. That's all the steps along the way of doing business with any company. And anywhere along that cycle of service, you have the opportunity to make the customer happy or make them mad. And if you make them mad, what happens to all the happy moments? Well, they're out of here. Bad news sells. I would say that one of the things you can do right away if you work on a team or in a group or in a company that has more than 2 employees, even with 2 employees, sit down and look at your cycle of service. How many steps along the way from just the starting of the business, the selling point, or even the materials you sent out in order to sell all the way through the close? What are all the steps along the way? What happens when you have phone calls with them? What happens when they go to your website? All those steps where things can fall apart. Because an upset customer talks. They tell everything to anybody that will listen. So either everybody in the company gets committed to the service cycle, or you just may as well none of you. Now, how many of you believe you have loyal customers? Can I see your hands? Are you sure?
Yes.
How do you know? After 25 years in this business, I have finally decided there is no such thing as a loyal customer. Let me tell you why. You probably noticed I choose the color of my hair. When I was, you're saying, really? When I was teaching school, my school children used to say, Miss Hanley, did you know your hair's turning black next to the top of your head? Sit down, kid, shut up. For years, I went to the same hairdresser. She charged me $60 to dye my hair. I felt like I was worth it. Went out and had more fun. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Well, anyway, I had no problem with her, the product, or the price. Except for 1 month she went on vacation. I got to the point of no return. I need to get my hair dyed. Some of you know what I'm talking about. So I went to a hair shop right next to my house just to pinch hit one time. And I want to tell you what happened. I walked in. The receptionist stood up from behind her desk, came around, introduced herself, got my name, and what's my first thought? I should have asked how much this is going to cost. She said, I'd like to introduce you to the chemist who's going to dye your hair. Excuse me? Where am I? Chemist? They took me to the chemist who dyed my hair. Then they took me to a third person that shampooed my hair. She told me of the product she was using and said, oh, by the way, you can buy those there today. I thought, well, I hope they take credit cards. Then the makeup artist comes over and she says, oh, we've messed up your makeup while we're working on your hair. Be glad to touch it up for you before you go back to work. I said, no, just leave me alone. The manicurist came over, gave me her card, said I'd be glad to do your nails sometime. I thought, if I can get out of here without giving them my firstborn child, I will not go back. They gave me my ticket. I went back to the front desk. What did I tell you I was used to paying? $60. Guess how much my bill was? $45. Did I change hairdressers? Yes. Would I have changed for $60? Yes. I would have changed for $75. I thought it was going to cost me $100 to get out of there. My old hairdresser doesn't know where I went. I just never came back. She didn't make me mad. She didn't do anything wrong. Customers are fickle. You can't trust them to keep doing business with you. Even after years and years and years, somebody lures them away and we're like big old fish. We get hooked and there we go. So that means that cycle of service, you have to take care of people constantly all the way around, every single opportunity you get, just hoping that they'll at least give good word of mouth if they float off that somebody else will come back in.